Christian Porter has discontinued his defamation action against the ABC and its reporter Louise Milligan. Our political editor Andrew Clennell is here. We're waiting to hear from the minister shortly, but you've got a statement from the ABC, Andrew.
Yeah, this is a statement from the ABC. There is a settlement here, but not with damages, just that there's an editor's note online with the original Louise Milligan story saying that guilt is not confirmed by the story. So the statement says, Christian Porter has decided to discontinue his defamation action against the ABC and Louise Milligan. All parties have agreed to not pursue the matter any further. No damages will be paid. And it says the ABC stands by the importance of the article, which reported on matters of significant public interest, and the article remains online. This is the story where Louise Milligan said some friends of this woman who'd committed suicide last year and had made a complaint and then decided not to proceed with it, had written to politicians alleging a senior cabinet minister was guilty of raping her. And this editor's note the ABC are putting on the story says, on 26th of February 2021, the ABC published an article by Louise Milligan. That article was about a letter to the Prime Minister containing allegations against a senior cabinet minister. Although he was not named, the article was about the Attorney-General, Christian Porter. The ABC did not intend to suggest that Mr Porter had committed the criminal offences alleged. The ABC did not contend that the serious accusations could be substantiated to the applicable legal standard, criminal or civil. However, both parties accept that some readers misinterpreted the article as an accusation of guilt against Mr Porter. That reading, which was not intended by the ABC, is regretted. So there you go, something of a victory for the ABC, if you like. In this circumstance, I would say, Kieran, I saw Christian Porter, who normally lives in Perth, on a flight to Sydney last Thursday night. I took it he was to meet his lawyers. We had heard talk about mediation. Only that day or the day before, he'd been on with Laura Jays. And let's hear a little bit of that.
So we'll see you there in the lead up to and after the next election then.
Everyone likes elections.
That's not a yes.
Well, I'm just completely committed to my electorate. I'm completely committed to the government. I think it's a government that has done remarkable things.
I find this situation quite extraordinary for Christian Porter. I think he showed in that interview there that he is not running at the election. I think we can safely say it's the end of his political career out of this. And of course, this development came after the ABC successfully blocked him using the defamation lawyer Sue Chrysanthu to represent him. However, one wonders what course of action. I think Laura asked him, did he have people wanting to guarantee payment? It would have been a very expensive action. Were other embarrassing details going to be subpoenaed and tabled in court? That's what often happens. You sue, and then other matters are brought up within open court, and we know he'd been attempting to suppress some of the ABC defence. But it can only really be looked at, I'm afraid, as him walking away with his tail between his legs, really, here, Kieran, don't you think?
Well, we're going to hear from him very soon. When you look at a legal case, Andrew, often, as you know as well as anyone, that you look at a situation, the reaction to it as much as anything to see the outcome, essentially. You've got ABC, senior figures in the ABC, the reporter concerned, disseminating this information immediately. They clearly see this as a win.
Yeah, I would say they do. I mean, how can you see it any other way? No damages are being paid. The article remains online. It has. We're not saying the guy's guilty, and that's the settlement. And if Christian Porter were interested in becoming Attorney General again, if he was interested in running at the next election, I mean, we both said he really needed to just take it on in the defamation courts and win. But he's obviously decided not to take that risk. And it just doesn't seem like a good day for Christian Porter at all. And look, when he came into the studio, I was sitting over there, saw him come in and out, and he seemed a diminished figure to me last week, I have to say, Kieran. Christian Porter, very self-confident normally, cocky, arrogant really in his time as Attorney General, believed he was smarter than most of his colleagues, probably was smarter than a lot of his colleagues, frankly. Former Attorney General and Treasurer in Western Australia, then came into federal politics, and look where it's ended up for him. Now looks like he'll bow out at the election, and I'll be very interested to hear what he had to say. Maybe he'll just say, well, this is enough. They've confirmed I'm not guilty. I can't really afford the action. It would ruin me. Very interested to hear what he says this afternoon.
And just to recap for our viewers, Andrew, that statement from the ABC, the story remains online, but they've agreed to an editor's note. I'll just recap it for you if you're just catching up with this story. So the ABC now, with that story from Louise Milligan, has got this editor's note. On 26th of February, the ABC published an article by Louise Milligan. That article was about a letter to the Prime Minister containing allegations against a senior cabinet minister. Although he was not named, the article was about Christian Porter. The ABC did not intend to suggest Mr Porter had committed the criminal offences alleged. The ABC did not contend that the serious accusations could be substantiated to the applicable legal standard, criminal or civil. However, both parties accept that some readers misinterpreted the article as an accusation of guilt against Mr Porter. That reading, which was not intended by the ABC, is regretted. That's the end of that editor's note. Now, Andrew, as you said, no damages to be paid. The ABC, in its statement from its communications department, goes on to say, the ABC stands by our investigative and public interest journalism, which is always pursued in the interests of the Australian community. The ABC stands by Louise Milligan, one of Australia's foremost and most awarded investigative journalists, and all our journalists. But as I said to you earlier, the ABC, via its senior executives, via its senior news people, and the reporter concerned, putting this result out immediately, they see this as a big win, and as you said, not a dollar to be paid in terms of damages.
That's right. It's interesting, though, that they say that reading that he might be guilty is regretted. That's obviously one of the things that's got Porter over the line, other than a costly legal action here. They're saying any suggestion he might have been guilty is regretted. So one concession at least, but I'll tell you what, it's a better concession than $500,000 and another couple of $1 million in legal fees, isn't it, from the ABC's point of view?
And he is going to hold a news conference, Andrew, as we mentioned to our viewers earlier, outside the courts in Sydney. We're getting a camera there to hear from Christian Porter as he takes on this latest chapter in what has been an awful episode for him. He went into this story and the first reporting of it. Prior to that, he was a contender to be the next Prime Minister. Now, we don't think he's going to run at the next election.
Cactus. Politically cactus. I mean, you'd have to think this scenario leads you to that. You'd have to look at his body language, what he was saying to Laura Jays. She said to him, did you think about quitting last week? And he paused for a good 3 seconds, and that told you everything you need to know. So it's clearly been foremost on his mind, clearly thinking about his family, clearly just didn't want to go through this. And to have them say a suggestion that he was guilty is regretted is apparently enough. Christian Porter wants the affair to end, but perhaps his political career he gives up as well.
Andrew, you'll be back with us very shortly. As soon as we hear from Christian Porter, we'll check in with Andrew Clennell as well. But that breaking news, the legal action to end, and an editor's note on the story, but no payments, no damages to be paid.